talking about that at a Python conference, yeah? Web accessibility is anything that ensures, or it's ensuring that everybody, regardless of disability or not, is able to use the same system the same way without having to like worry. There are different kind of disabilities. When we hear disabilities, we think about the blind, we think about the deaf and all of that here. But there are some other people that have like learning difficulties, they have neurological problems and all of that. Accessibility means that we should be able to cater to a blind, a deaf person, someone with neurological issues, someone with very bad, poor internet connections and all of that without having to change a lot of things. So, yeah. And why is that a topic at a Python conference anyway? Because it's important. Because Python also has a web part, right? As we have, like Python has different parts here. And having to do this kind of thing is quite important for people to know, because if I don't talk about accessibility at Python conference, we'll have topics such as data, we'll have topics about other Python frameworks and all of that, but none of these important issues, which is very important for us to think about and talk about, because it's something that affects everybody. So, yeah, that's why it's a topic here. Next slide. I'm the one changing my slide myself. Okay. Why does it matter? According to statistics, over 1 billion people worldwide have some form of disability. I can't remember what the population of China is. I think China is one of the most populated. Do you know what population China is? 1.3. So if over 1 billion people have some form of disability, it means that almost like, that's like the entire, entire citizen in China and some more, yeah? And that's a problem. It means that that is a lot of people, that's a lot of underserved people that we don't take care of if we don't do, or if we don't consider accessibility properly. And it means that 1 in 6 people have some form of disabilities or another. And one very important thing to note is that not all disabilities are physical. Because somebody is sitting next to you, you might think that, oh yeah, I mean, there are many of us here, 20. You might think that, oh, everybody looks okay, but maybe not true. I mean, I wear glasses. That's not considered as a big disability or huge disability, but it means that I can't see clearly, right? It means that taking off my glasses means that I will not be able to access things that I should have access to. So if for some reason somebody decides to build a website and they use very tiny text, it means that I am unable to access it, right? Even though I would not be considered as a disabled person. But thinking about things like that just lets you know that this is quite an important thing for us to think about and talk about. There's also the thing about legal requirements. A lot of countries requires that you have your website or whatever products you're building is accessible. From next year in Europe, you would people will be unable to use websites also. If you build a product that is not accessible, it's not going to fly. You might even get fined for building something. You might get audited, especially if you are building a, a user-facing product where different people get to use it, and if it's not accessible. So for context, I work for a health tech company in the UK. We serve about 96% of the GP. That means that we need to cater to a whole lot of people. Imagine a lot of people using the same system. It means that everybody needs to be able to use it. Otherwise, what's the point if people are unable to benefit from that? Okay, going into it. You also get, if you think that, oh, legal requirements, I don't care. Statistics, I don't care. I don't really care about people like that. Like, I just want to make my money and go. Okay, think about your business benefits. By being accessible, you reach a larger audience. You get to reach people that normally you would not reach because you did not care about them. It also increases your search engine optimization when things are well built, and you also have an enhanced brand image. People basically know you for being the accessible company. Like, oh, this person, well, maybe that's the advantage you have over your competitor anyway. And also, It benefits all of us, including those with temporary disabilities. If for some reason your hand suddenly, you broke your hand is in a cast, you should still be able to use your computer, you should still be able to use your phone as you would, with just minimal, disruption to your daily life. So all of these are why accessibility matters, why we should think about it in everything that we are doing. So I have talked a lot about why it matters, what are the legal requirements and all of that. And you then think, I mean, at least that was my thoughts at first, like, okay, there are a lot of people that we need to reach. We need to reach the blind, we need to reach the deaf, we need to reach somebody that is temporarily disabled and all of that. How then can I be able to like cater to all of this? It feels like a lot of things to do, right? It feels like a lot of things to consider. Well, that's where Waka Group of You comes in. There is this group of people that care about the internet. They are called the World Wide Web Consortium. It's a big word. But basically, everybody just calls them W3C. That's the acronym for that. The 3 is coming from WWW. So they've created a guideline that everybody can follow regardless of anything. Like, you don't have to think about, oh, is my website, is it that? What do I need to do? They have a very detailed guideline or guide that you can follow through to attain accessibility. And this guideline has different level of conformance. What are the things that you can do? If you get an A, that's like you're doing the barest minimum, which is what a lot of people do. They just do the barest minimum to get by. It means that some people can use your whatever you are building, your products, even if it's not very accessible. We try to get to AA. That's the recommended. It means that most people should be able to use your service regardless of how it looks. And well, AA is the highest or enhanced, and not a lot of people do that because it's not easy. Okay. This WCAG then have 4 major guidelines. It's based on 4 principles, which is something you should keep in mind whenever you're trying to build a web product. It has to be perceivable, it has to be operable, it has to be understandable, and it has to be robust. So, first thing when you're building a web product, keep these 4 things in mind. Is what I'm building, does it cover all of this? If it does, then you're good to go. Now we'll go into what each of those mean anyways. For the perceivable, it means that information and user interface, whatever it is, should be presentable to users in a way that they can perceive, right? You know that the way a blind person will perceive something is different to the way a deaf person will perceive something. So, for instance, you have a website or you have an application that has a video player, and you don't have subtitles. You know that way, you as a, you as an abled person will be able to use it without stress, right? You know that a blind person does not need to see it, but they will be able to hear whatever is in the video. But then how do you imagine that somebody that is deaf is able to just like navigate that? Would they just watch pictures? Which is why whatever you're building needs to like be inclusive for everybody involved. For that, yeah, adding a closed caption, subtitle will make that work for those 3 people that I said. But like, that is not the end and be all of that. That's just like a very minute users out of that, but that's something to consider. Provide text alternatives for non-text content. I'm going to show you an example, and I hope that it works. So there are text contents, like images. Imagine that somebody here is blind, and I am trying to explain, I have an image on the board. Say, for instance, what's that image? I can't think of an image right now. I don't know how to make stuff up on this stuff. Anyway, I'm trying to explain an image to them, or there is an image on the board, and I am explaining what is in that image, but they can't see it, right? We need to find a way to make this inclusive for them too, which is where alternative text comes in. When they use their screen readers, blind people mostly use, they use screen readers. Some people also use voice prompts and all. When they use screen readers, the screen reader should be able to read out what is in the image for them to understand that, oh, this is what this is talking about. And just saying things about things like, say, for instance, I have a picture of, yeah, let's do it. Okay. All right. So I created this very somehow looking picture just to explain what this looks like. Say, for instance, there's this website, and you're sharing it with people, and you need to understand what this means, yeah? You send this to somebody, they can't see it, yeah? But they also want to like feel that with you. Nobody likes to feel excluded. Nobody likes to feel like, oh, yeah, I'm not being given a fair treatment because I'm blind or something, right? This image now, if I describe it as a picture, that does not quite explain anything, right? That's just like, oh, a picture, okay, that's whatever. If I say that, oh, this is a picture of, I don't even need to say the word picture. It already knows that it's a picture. If I say that two key holders on a swine representing the couple, whoever, somebody that is blind, like if you close your eyes, I think that you should be able to get a close picture of what this is supposed to look like. That makes it feels inclusive. That means that whoever is looking or thinking about this, even though they can't see it, they still have it in mind that this is what this is supposed to look like, right? So this is what alternative text means. You can't see the alternative text right now, but whoever is using a screen reader, I don't know, I don't know if I can get into it to see. Yeah, that might not work. All right, let's not get into that. I was going to play my screen reader so that you see how a blind person would navigate this. But yeah. Okay, going back to the slide. Also, yeah, we provide captions and alternative for video and audio content just so that, to start with, need to apologize. Our conference is not so accessible because if a deaf person is here, they can't hear me, right? They can see it, but they don't get the full experience. So if we provide like a captioning of whatever it is that I'm saying, then that makes it more accessible. I need to apologize for that. Okay, moving on. Where was I? Okay. Also make it easy for users to see and hear their content. Next slide. Okay. Oh, that didn't change. Okay. So this is an example of something that is perceivable. Imagine you go to, let's say, embassy to submit your documents. They have a website where they get all of your documents that you're supposed to submit, yeah? And they send you this back. Let's look at the first one. I think that anybody should be able to understand, or not anybody. A regular person should understand that the green means that they got that document, and the red probably means that they didn't get it, right? That is how you probably would interpret these documents. But imagine a blind person, for instance, or somebody that does not have the same level of. For context, the average reading age in the United Kingdom is 7 years. It means that's the literacy age. People read at that age. Data says that Nigeria is 15 years, which is very, very impressive. It means that we know book. We should, basically what this is saying is that we should make content available in a way that is very easy for anybody to understand. Even anybody using a screen reader, when they see this is going to read it to them as documents submitted, certificates, passport, X, field form, supporting documents. It's not understandable. But looking at the second one, you can understand that certificates received, passport not received, right? So we need to make content very clear so that anybody can understand what is going on and not use colors. We can't just use. Not everybody can see colors. Some people are color. Is there anybody that is colorblind here? All right. Some people are colorblind. They don't get to see some colors. That's why we can't rely on things like colors to make our points or to keep our points across. We need to find other means to do that. That's why, yeah, there is nothing like being too explicit when it comes to building digital products. Okay, operable. Everybody, all your users should be able to navigate their content in any way, in any form of navigation that they use. Some people do not. I think that the default is to use your trackpad or to use your mouse to navigate your content. Some people cannot just do that. Somebody that cannot see cannot use their mouse to navigate. They rely on their keyboard for navigation. So, and some people use voice control. It means that whatever that you're doing, whenever you use a button, let your button be a button. A button should not go to another page. It should not open a new link, right? That's supposed to be for a link. Basically, make sure that whatever you're doing does what it's supposed to do. Yeah, that sounds like a repetition. But yeah, you get the idea. Right. Make all functionalities available. Give users time to read content and to digest it. You can sometimes there is this thing where you are trying to fill a form, then there's a pop-up that has an information that is very useful to you, but it goes fast, and you're like, what is this, right? And not all of us have the same reading speed, so we need to like keep everybody in mind, give people time to digest what we are saying, and then they can take action, especially for things that are that needs action to be taken on that. Do not use content that causes seizures or physical reactions. I don't know if there's any designer in the house. Designers have a very funny way of making designs. They think that everything should look so beautiful. They think that everything should move and jump. I mean, I'm not hating on designers, but they think that everything should somehow jump and the rest, right? But we need to be considerate of people. Some people don't like, some people cannot stand strobing lights where something is just like flashing all over, right? It causes seizures in some people. So we need to either give warning content or just like stay away from that and help people, provide people to a way to navigate content and find whatever it is that they are looking for. Understandable. I think this might be self-explanatory. Information should be understandable. We've spoken about that in a bit, or we've spoken about that in all of the different things that we've talked about. People need to understand what we are doing, why we are doing it. We should not use bogus languages. We should not just use words just because, I mean, we have a dictionary and we want to use words. We need to be able to pass our messages across in a way that anybody and everybody can understand it as best as possible. Make content appear and operate in a predictable way. That's very important. You can have a page where on one page you have submit and cancel button, and then on the other page you have cancel and submit button. That can get very confusing to users. So you need to like be very there has to be one way of doing things across apps, so that because when people memorize a way of doing something, right, it's not easy for them to go back and try to do it in another way. They are used to that way of doing things. Robust, yeah. This just means that whatever it is that you're building, your product should work across various devices in the same way. People should not need to get a new phone to be able to use the new and shiny app that you are building. Use valid and well-formatted HTML. That's very important. That brother is already doing his hand like this. Anyway, Web AIM, web accessibility in mind, very good organization. They deal with making the internet accessible or steps to making the internet accessible. This year, they did review of home pages, web pages, right? And these are the common issues that they found in text, or that they found, accessibility problems that they found. We have low contrast text, we have missing alternative text. We already talked about missing alternative text. Just to show you an example of low contrast text. Oh my God. Right. Yeah. Can everybody read this? Oh, can everybody read this one? Yeah, that's because, but you can't really see it, right? It's there, but you can't see it. It does not really provide. This is an example of, imagine that it's a very important context, or it's a very important text. There's supposed to be a date here. I don't think that you can even see that. But if we go to the other counterpart here, you can see that this is increasingly better than that. That's a way that low contrast text is a problem to applications. You can use a contrast checker to check for that, to check if you are meeting the contrast standard. Missing alternative text, you need to provide missing alternative text because people use screen readers and for them to be able to read. Missing form labels, that's very important in a way that if we go here and I click on the RSVP button now, you can see, because you are most people here are regular users, right? You see that this is a name. But as soon as I over here and I start typing, the name disappears, right? If for some reason I have very low cognitive skills, I am unable to like keep track of, oh, what is it that I am doing here, right? You need to be able to label forms. Forms need to be labeled properly just so that people are able to do, they know what they are doing, or they are able to use it the way it's supposed to be used. Going to the other one, using the same example, we come here, you can see the name is here. And what happens when I over the name, when I click on the name here? It highlights the appropriate field. That makes it easy for everybody to use. You know what you are using and you know why you are using it. Okay. 4 minutes. Yeah, no empty links, no empty buttons. Don't use buttons for links. Don't use links for buttons. And let's see. Okay. We already talked about all of these. Allow keyboard navigation. Make sure that your color contrast work. Use semantic HTML. Okay. I hope you've enjoyed this. The key takeaway is that we need to build products that is accessible for everybody for an inclusive digital future. As we go into digital future, we need to, if you cannot effect change yet wherever you are, you need to talk to people that can do that. Tell them why it's important to do that. WCAG already provides you the guidelines to follow. You don't need to write your own. You don't need to think about it. You just need to implement it. And it doesn't even take a while to do that. You just need to check whatever it is that you're doing. There are tools that you can use. There are free tools. The browser also comes with its own tools for accessibility. Think about the PAW principles when you're working. Continuously test. When you add new things, test it. Make sure that it works. Accessibility does not just benefit people with disabilities. It benefits everybody, and I hope that as you go about your day, as you go about building products, you think about this, you put this in mind, and you implement it. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much. I'm afraid to ask questions.
Are there specific tools you recommend for evaluation of accessibility of, websites that are existing or that are?
Yeah, so in terms of tools, your regular browsers comes with tool, like Chrome comes with Lighthouse. It evaluates your app. It tells you what's the accessibility percentage. There's also Axe. Axe is from what's it called? A company called DQ. Not quite sure how to pronounce it. I can quickly show you one right now. What that looks like. Yeah, I'm going to. All right, cool. If I go here and inspect DevTool, wrong button. Yeah. Yeah. Where is that? It used to be somewhere. It used to be somewhere. Right. Yeah. Right now I can't find it. But right, it's called Axe Tool. Axe DevTool. It should be able to analyze the application for you and tell you what you need to do. Yeah, I wasn't at the right place. It will come back. Oh, I got kicked out, guys. Yeah. Okay. Ask DevTool. I can show you after. Yeah, it analyzes, it tells you what is missing, and it links you to where you can fix it or what fixes that you can do for that. I wonder if does anyone have any other question? Okay.
Thank you very much. So you talked about designers and how they love beautiful designs and all. But do you think there's a trade-off between the beautiful designs, interaction, and accessibility? Then a second question. So I know this talk is about web accessibility, but considering that most people interact with the internet through their mobile phones and mobile apps, is there like an accessibility part for mobile apps?
No worries, no worries. Thank you. Very good questions. Firstly, designers too should also think about accessibility when they are designing. That is the major trade-off. There are also design accessibility tools for designers that they can use to see if something is accessible. And for your other question, that's a very, very good question, because there are lots of people that are underserved. When everything turns digital, our bank is unbanked, you don't have to go to the bank. It becomes a problem for people that ordinarily cannot access these things, yeah? It means that as we transition, we need to think about all these people, but that's like a different topic entirely. But we need to think about always providing an alternative source of, alternative forms for people that don't have the tools that we have for a digital future, right? So I hope that answers your question. All right. Any other question? All right. That's me, guys. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.